Say yes every day to the world and to your heart. Open up your eyes and let your spirit start. Say yes to the dreams you hold inside. Let your soul be your guide.
Go. Thank you for joining us today for another episode of Wednesday Wisdom. Today, we are joined by the incredible Sam Royer. He is the founder of Salute Home Loans. Sam, thank you so much for joining us. And we always kick it off on Wednesday Wisdom with, we go through life. We're picking up all these little pieces of advice and things that we learn along the way. And I'd love to hear from you, Sam. What is something that you learned or a lesson you went through that really has sat with you in your life that you'd like to share with all of us?
Well, thanks for having me, Laura. And I think one of the main lessons I learned in life is write it out and delete it. So, and interestingly enough, many times, especially in the world that we work in the mortgage industry, you have situations that sometimes really bother you. And it could be a client calling you and stressing you out. It could be a realtor stressing you out. It could be anybody. It could be an AE. It could be anybody. And sometimes you just have to write the words via email or text and then delete them and then rethink it. And I learned that the hard way when I was younger in this industry. I've been doing this 28 years. I used to walk into my old underwriter's office and I would just walk in. And I'll never forget. Her name is Bernice. She'd say, "Sam, don't you know how to knock?" And I'm thinking to myself, in boot camp, we used to have to stand, by our drill instructor's hatch or door. And you used to have to hit this handprint and basically say, "Sir, recruit Royer," So you had to show the respect that they're busy. You got to chime in. Now, that respect carries over to sometimes we get emails or messages, and sometimes you're too short. And I'm really, being 50 years old now, I struggle sometimes because, clients will text us all the time, and it could be any hour, any day. And sometimes you write back, and if it's short, people will think you're being a jerk or people think you're just too busy for them. But sometimes you'll write back and you're kind of pissy. And that, I know some people do the whole have a mirror in front of your face so that you can see your facial expressions and stuff. But what I've learned, and I deal in politics a lot, and sometimes I have hit send, but sometimes it's just better to write it out, read it out, and delete it because it could cause more harm than good. So
Wow. So
that's
so
my
many
lesson for Wisdom Wednesday.
so many things to unpack there, Sam. All right. So number one, I love that you explained why you started doing that, right? Because I will tell you, there were many AEs that worked for me where I would say, you better reread that and you better make sure not just the words, but the tone. Because we know that sometimes we may be thinking it's coming across one way, but it's really not coming across that way, right? Yep. You can read it more than one way. And it's funny that you even shared this, the part about the being too short in a text message. I can tell you, I don't send long text messages. I am someone that I'm short and I'm to the point because in my mind, I always think that's not really a long form communication, right? A text. But to your point, Sam, I've had people say to me, "Is everything okay?" Like that you don't respond back. So it goes to show you what you're speaking about. Bottom line, it's effective communication, right? And I think we can all agree a lot of what we do in this industry, it's how we are perceived and consumed through the communication that we provide, right? Because we could be saying the same thing, but how we say it and the words we choose as we're communicating can make all the difference of what the outcome is on the other side. So I love the fact that you kind of have it written out, you reread it, delete anything that maybe you don't want to go across. And
you got to delete the whole thing most of the time. That's the thing, So I'm going to show you. This is one of my long text messages. You can't really see it.
It's long.
But now, here's the thing, though, Laura. So this is to a United States congressman. And it's pretty long. It's actually very long now that I'm looking at it again. But what I will do, and this is out of respect for him as well, but we have these things that we spend thousands of dollars on, and then we get the upgrade for another $1,000, and then we get the iPhone 28 for $10,000, right? But you got this little thing called a camera, and I'm just getting I mean, my camera roll is now picture, video, 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 picture, video, 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 picture, because I'll just follow up with a video and be like, listen, man,
I
just
love it.
wanted to let you know where I would say, Congressman, I know I just sent you a long text, so the details are there, but just so you know, my heart is this. This is what I'm trying to ask you. And honestly, then they either see your passion, they see that you're not full of it. I just had a United States Senator blow us off because there was a Marine that was going to die. And he ultimately did die right before the Marine Corps birthday, actually the night of. So technically November 11th. But, I sent this congressman a text. I said, we really need you to jump in here. And he said to me, I normally don't do that. And it was very unfortunate. Some things did change. We had other, luckily, big hitters that stepped up. But if I would have sent a video, I think it would have been a little more impactful. Now, I understand it was tail end of what had to happen. For somebody to just jump in, they'd really have to know. But my video to that senator, my next one, would really want to be, did you think I'd just come to you with some bullshit thing,
Right.
if I'm allowed to say it that way? Like, I'm coming to you with something that is life or death. And in this case, the gentleman died. So, it's something that people sometimes we write too much. I'm on a recording once where, I told an underwriter, I said, I guess we can't fix stupid. And it
Oh,
wasn't directed at them. It was about the guideline of how they
yeah.
use their system. And I said, their VA guidelines here, I sent it to that underwriter. They were quoting their internal guidance on VA. And I said, VA loans can go over 4%. No, they can't. It says it right here. I'm like, oh my gosh, you can't fix stupid. Well, I said it that way, but I wasn't like to the person like you're an idiot. It was more, and I literally had that organization call me. They said, do you have an anger problem? I said, yes, I do. And I said, right now you're very much enraging it. But I was kind and I didn't write anything bad. But anyway, I digress. So,
So you brought up a couple of points. I will tell you, number one, video is huge because of
yeah,
our facial expressions and the influx in our voice, right? The pitch and how we
yep,
accent certain words, right? And I will also say for the people out there, I know a lot of people are still not into the video thing, even though every single person should be. Even if you do a voice memo, I will tell you
oh,
a
yeah,
voice memo works beautifully. And for all of you out there, as you pick up your phones, you could even make your voice memos disappear. So sometimes I know for
yep,
myself, there may be things where I don't want you to have a record of what I put in writing every time that I send something.
yeah.
But the voice memo, I may say, okay, Sam, this is how we're going to structure this one. Make sure that you get this. And then that voice memo disappears, right? And you could go about what
Wade
you need
Betts
to
better
do.
be listening to this. I'm going to tell Wade Betts he better be listening to this, but Wade Betts is one of the best at those. He works at Empire,
Yes, I
great
know
guy.
Wade
And
very well.
I will just get a voice memo from him, and sometimes I wonder if he's sitting on a can sending it or what. But he is a crack up. He is a good man. But I do love that about him. He'll send a voice memo. Tom Ailes and I will
Yes,
send Tom a video just out of the blue, and then Tom will send me one back. That's the cool thing about this community is that there's so many people that understand there's business for everybody.
there is.
Don't be mean. Don't go after people in a negative way. Stand up for what you believe in, 100%. But you know what? You can be competitors all day long, but you got to have fun, And it's like, when I went to Eddie Perez's, what is it, tag event,
Yes.
and I dressed up as basically trying to be like Dwayne Johnson, it was funny because, that actually stood out to a bunch of people because they're like, if you're that dumb that you're going to dress up like that, you got to be different, right? But I did it. I had a purpose. I wanted hopefully Kevin Hart, do a video to send to Dwayne, but it didn't happen, but it's okay. But it's still like, we are in such a world right now that communication is so mixed. And
Yeah.
I look at the kids and it's so sad because the heroes of today, where are they and who are they? And it's very, I'd hate to be 10 years old. I mean, I have a Joe Montana jersey back there, right? Obviously a great quarterback, the best
Yeah.
ever. And Ronnie Lott was a player on the 49ers. Ronnie Lott, I sent a picture as a little kid. I sent a picture to Ronnie Lott, Lawrence Taylor, Rulon Jones, both played for Denver Broncos, and Carl Mecklenburg. I'm sorry, Carl and Rulon played for the Broncos. But anyway, Lawrence Taylor, Giants.
I was
Ronnie
gonna
Lott sent me
say
a picture
I
back.
know Lawrence Taylor because I'm in New
Yeah,
Jersey.
yeah. So Ronnie Lott, I actually got a picture back. Well, that
Oh
simple
wow.
gesture, it was now granted he didn't send it, his
Yeah.
agent sent it. But the funny thing is there was a post person at the post office that was so cool because I wrote Ronnie Lott, San Francisco 49ers, San Francisco, California. And that's all I wrote. I
Yeah.
didn't write a zip code, an address, or anything else, but it got there
Oh
and
wow.
I got a picture from Ronnie Lott. So that's what made me love the 49ers. So the communication aspect is something we really have to focus on. And now, even so, with AI and stuff and
It's
everything
more,
else
I
out
think it's
there,
more important. Now it's even
yeah, because
more important with AI.
you got to have those, you have to have challenge words anymore just to make sure it's really you. So it's like, because you could send something to somebody and you don't know if it's real anymore. So you got to have like a challenge word.
You
So,
are right. So
but
listen, Sam, anyone that's listening right now, and if they know you, they know you. If they don't know you, they're gonna learn a lot about you. You're obviously very passionate about our industry, passionate about our veterans, right? You've mentioned that you were communicating with a congressman. So
yeah.
share with everyone, right? For those of you, those out there that aren't familiar with the work that you're doing, besides, of course, having your own mortgage brokerage and working with people all the time with doing loans, give us what else you work on that you're passionate about.
Yeah, so thanks for asking. And you ever notice that whenever politicians, that's the first thing they say after somebody asks a question, thank you for asking.
Yeah,
I'm
you
not a
know why?
politician.
You know why? Because
No.
they do that to buy themselves time as they're thinking of the answer.
Oh, yeah, no. I'll just answer. So, very much my passion, I've done a lot of stupid things in my life. I'm actually an alcohol abuser. I'm not proud of that, but it's something to live by because I hope other people that are going through that know there's people out there they can call and talk to. My passions are trying to make up for a lot of my crap from the past. My main one, though, is really trying to help people that serve in our communities and country. Being a Marine veteran, I served honorably twice, actually. Never served in a combat zone. So I'm never going to be that guy that, hey, he's trying to take stolen valor. No, I was basically a grunt, which is really the guys that go to combat, but I never went anywhere that was actually like my life was in danger other than jumping off some cliffs in training. But, so very proud to be a Marine. I love that I get this VA home loan benefit. And most of my best friends, you notice I have a lot of challenge coins back there. I got some over there. Most of my best friends are cops, firefighters, a lot of teacher friends, which some people be like, teachers aren't cops or firefighters. Well, teachers die now sometimes. And actually, I would not want to be around 30, puberty-ridden 13-year-olds anymore because you just never know. I sit, as I'm sitting, I'm in Flagler County, Florida. We had a teacher last year get beat up. It made national news because I think they didn't give the Game Boy back or something. And this was like a middle school or high school kid. So it's not the easy job anymore. But anyway, community servants. Now, I will talk because we are very fresh in my mind on this. Yesterday, Chairman French Hill had the House Financial Services Committee hearing to regulate and talk about our industry, right? Housing, affordability, housing supply, right? Well, I have a bill called the Helper Act. Helper is an acronym for Homes for Every Local Protector, cop, educator, teacher, responder, firefighter, EMT, or paramedic. The Helper Act will very simply do this. It will take a normal traditional FHA loan, and as long as you serve 4 years in your community, you can go to any FHA approved lender, and that FHA approved lender will be able to not pick a 203B, which is your traditional FHA, not a 203K because it's a rehab, not a 203H because that's 100% disaster area recovery. It will be like a 203Z or something, right? And that will trigger so that the 3.5% down payment is not required. There is no monthly mortgage insurance. and there's a one-time mortgage insurance premium that they can't finance. However, because FHA allows 6% seller assist, in all theory, this is a traditional FHA loan that's kind of like a VA for those individuals, right? Now, the coolest part about this, it costs taxpayers nothing. And this is what bothers me. And you talk about messaging and, my emails I've sent. I get pissed off because congressmen and senators do not know how our industry works, most of them. And all they tell you is, oh, it's a subsidy program. Taxpayer money is paying for this benefit. It is not. Guys, FHA is a big insurance company that literally the federal government controls. And right now they have $174 billion. That means that the average claim, if you look at the last, let's say, 12 months, the average claim paid to a lender is under $70,000 per claim. Now, as you know, Laura, a lender gets a claim because the foreclosure has gone pretty much all the way through, right? If you take $174 billion, everybody take out their calculator, use AI, use Siri, and ask Siri, $174 billion divided by $70,000 a claim, you would have to have 2.3, I believe it is, million homeowners that are FHA borrowers lose their house for that money to go away, right? So FHA is massively overfunded. Well, when you have congressmen and senators say, hey, guess what? This is going to cost taxpayer money. No, every FHA loan we do, the mortgage insurance goes into that pool, and that pool is massively overfunded. So yesterday, they had a House Financial Services Committee hearing. You figure the Helper Act would be part of it, especially Laura, when two, I believe three of the four witnesses, because if you've never seen a hearing, it's the congressmen and congresswomen, and then you have some people that testify, right? Mm-hmm. Those people that testify, two, or maybe three, because I have to rewatch it, talked about how we have to find affordable housing for cops, teachers, and firefighters, but the Helper Act's not there. Now, here's a little stat. All the bills that were part of this hearing, not Helper, but all the other bills, the next closest one, we have 100 members of Congress. There's 435. We have 100 of them that have already signed on, both Democrat and Republicans. The next closest bill was 48. The next closest bill was like 30. Right. The next closest was in the 20s. And then most of the other ones, there's probably about 15 other ones, had less than 5. And we have 100, yet Chairman French Hill will not bring this up. And this is where we as an industry, guys, we love VA. We love going out and talking to veterans. We love, we're going to serve Marines and Navy and everything else. What about the guy that if right now somebody climbed in my window, they'd be dead. But either way, like they climbed in, I'd be calling 911, and who would show up at my house, right? If a fire broke out, I have a candle burning, you can't see it. If that suddenly went ablaze, who am I calling? Somebody's going to run in and save my dogs, right? Who you'll probably hear soon. And my children, as you see, they were very little back then. Who did I send them off to? And who, I know I'm sitting in a house and that's our most valuable asset. But what is it? It's our second most valuable asset. That's our most valuable asset. And I had to send them to people that, do I really not want them to have a more affordable house? Forget politics. And the problem is, Helper hasn't gone a lot of places because politics is in the way. It's politics over people. Republicans don't like teachers because of their unions. They don't hate the individual teacher, but they won't back the individual teacher because of a union. And that's where we as an industry have to come together. The NBA, AIM has sent a support letter, so we're very thankful for them, right? NAM, like they have supported this. They have to, though, now start talking to these legislators. We have to get the individual companies, the mega companies, to start calling these individuals saying, what are you doing? Because now, let's go to business side of this, right? What's one of the most profitable loans out there? The government loan, the FHA, the VAs, right? This is an FHA loan. So companies, congratulations, you will have a bigger pool of government lending coming in your doors. So the money should be pretty good for you, right? So
yeah, and that's kind of what I was thinking, Sam, and thank you for explaining that, and thank you for bringing that to light for us. Right? But I really do want to hear, because this is important, of what can the individual listening today to this do? what can, Bobby and Sue that right now are just random people out there in the industry. What do we need each person to do? What is that step? If they're working for one of our big boys and girls in the industry, do they go and say, hey, you need to know about this? Is there something on a website that people can say, I want to put my name to this? Teach me this, show me this. If someone from the associations are listening, hey, how do I help? Like, what is the call to action, Sam?
Yeah,
To be able
so
to help.
it's a couple different things. One,
Okay.
they have to close their eyes and think about the people that serve in those categories and realize they're probably a sister, brother, uncle, aunt, mother, father, or somebody. Forget Sam Royer, forget Laura, right? Think about those individuals, right? And we're trying to make their lives better. So what do you do for that when you open your eyes? You sit there and you contact your congressman's office if they're not already a part of it, and you can't have fear. Because guess what? You're not selling them anything. We're not asking the federal government for free stuff. We're literally telling them about a benefit to serve their most influential, valuable constituents, cops, teachers, and firefighters, right? So call them and say, actually, Congressman Randy Fine is my congressman here, brand new guy. I was his first official meeting in Washington, and he joined the bill within like 10 minutes after I left his office. That's called action, right? I went to him and I said, sir, this is pretty straightforward. Cops, teachers, and firefighters doesn't cost money. FHA's 500% overfunded, and money will still go into that kitty when these loans are done. Will you please join the Helper Act? Now, if they kick back, well, why are teachers, let's say it's a Republican member, why are teachers on it? Because they take care of my kids, because they're very valuable. Yes, they don't go fight fires unless there's a little chemistry fire, but they also, if somebody runs in that school when the police aren't there yet, they jump in front. So you have a Democratic member, they're most likely going to join. We actually have more Democrats than Republicans. So even though this is a Republican-led bill, Senator Moody from Florida, Congressman Rutherford from Jacksonville, Florida, both Republicans, they're the leads on it, right? So that's one thing. Call your congressman. Have your friends call a congressman. Now, a lot of people don't like stepping out of their comfort zone. I'm not used to that, Sam. I don't like this. Write an email. If you need their email address, we'll give it to you. There's this new thing called Google. General Mattis from the Marine Corps, jokingly, when I talked to him, he goes, Sam, there's this new thing called Google. I looked you up, right? So here, you literally just look it up and just write nicely. Congressman, I'm not sure why you're not for this bill yet, but I'm asking as a constituent to get on, right? Now, the other thing, we will throw a big party in Washington. Let's all meet up there. And we will set up meetings with your individual office. So so Laura, you're sometimes in Arizona, sometimes in Jersey, right? Yep. So here, find your member, whichever state you're really registered in, find that member, and then Laura will set up a meeting so you can go meet, because you're more powerful than Sam Royer. Sam Royer went to Randy Fine, his congressman. Mm-hmm. He's already on. Now, when I call Laura's congressman or woman, they don't care about Sam Royer. I'm not going to vote for him. Now, I can say my son actually lives in Tucson. I could say, well, my son's not going to vote for you, but, they like having that personal thing. Now, if you're an organization, I know there's groups out there that collect money to do stuff, but we do have a lobbyist. Please help financially support him, because he honestly has been doing this a lot cheaper than all the other lobbyists get paid in our industry by far. Why? Because he's a Navy veteran. Actually, he's still serving in the Navy. We are actually friends since we were little kids. And the fact is, for 5 years, he and I, his name is George McElwee, have put our hearts and minds through this. So it's not about the money for him, but those resources, unfortunately, Washington is pay to play. If you look up, Nam, and I'm not calling you out, Nam, please take this respectfully. You just gave French Hill $10,000 for his $5,000 for his primary and $5,000 for his general election, right? That should open a door so we can go talk to him, but that's how it is. Unfortunately, Washington, if you look up the campaign finance reports, Tim Scott has $37 million in his campaign financial thing. If you look at the top donors, Chase Bank, Guardian Life Insurance, all these different places, right? So we could use some resources. Best thing, if you can't do that, give us a letter of support. We are thankful. UWM gave us a letter of support. Windsor, thank you, Chris, gave us a letter of support, right? those go on the website, which the website is just
Right.
passthehelperact.org. So passthehelperact.org. I know Laura's going to put that up somewhere.
I am.
But there are other websites, guys, and there are some people that tried to use this to build their businesses. This is truly, let's get the advocacy done first. So call your congressman, financial resources, and if you're all up for it, we will throw a massive party. I know we have, the broker organizations have fly-ins and all that other stuff. We can set up our own Helper Act fly-in. And everybody together throughout the country. I mean, we have congressmen and senators from every different state. Like, this isn't something that is like just regional. This is nationwide, guys. And the best thing you actually could do, go into your communities. Now, I'm going to talk business and I'm going to talk the Helper Act passing. Business. If you go into a fire station, a police station, even a school, and you say, "Hi, I'm Laura, the mortgage lender," even though I don't have blonde hair, I have nice hair, but I'm the mortgage lender and I'm fighting and advocating. I use the word ambassador. I'm an ambassador for a bill called the Helper Act. Now they can look it up on their iPhone. You can pull it up on your iPhone and show them and scroll. And they see like all these different people and say, "I'm trying to fight for more affordable housing for teachers, cops, and firefighters," right? Now, Laura, do you think a principal is not going to like you? Do you think a fire chief or a police chief is going to say, "You're a scumbag solicitor. You're just trying to get our business"? They're going to be like, "Are you kidding? You're like fighting for us? What? That's no way. Are you on drugs? Like, you need to get tested right now." No, because nobody fights for these people. Everybody fights for veterans, and I'm thankful for that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But we do have a lot of stuff. These other guys, these men and women, they don't, right?
Yeah.
So when you go into these organizations, you could build your business, Laura. You literally, I've been very successful in my career, and most of my clients are cops, teachers, and firefighters. Why? Because they know I care about them, right? So use it for your business. Go out. But then, if you have a chief, if you have a sheriff, ask them for a letter of support. We can provide it for you, right? So, as an example, Alabama, we had probably 60 sheriffs sign letters of support. Arkansas, I had most all of them. Pennsylvania, I pretty much have all those sheriffs. Those letters help us when we go to the local congressional leaders and say, "Look, these individuals are behind it." So there's a million things you can do. Get on social media. Don't look, Byron Donalds is running for governor in the state of Florida. All right? Seems like a very nice man. But for 5 years, that man could have joined our legislation. For 5 years, that man's office was right next to Congressman Rutherford's. For 5 years, we've had people nudge him. I've gone into his office. Never have we had a meeting. So this man now wants to be the governor of our state. And he goes around and he is somebody that talks about cops, teachers, everybody, right? Well, my question when he comes to my area, I'm going to be very nice. I'm going to delete the email. I'm going to be very nice. And I'm going to say, "Sir, my name's Sam Royer, and I just have one question. You want to be the governor of this state. For 5 years, you've worked in Washington, and you've had the ability to sign on the legislation to help cops, teachers, and firefighters in the state of Florida have a more affordable home. And you sat on the committee, Financial Services. That was very crucial. In fact, your colleague, John Rutherford, who is a Republican buddy, is the lead of this legislation, but you've never joined a bill to help the people here in Florida, if not the country. How are you going to be different as a governor?" And then just shut up.
Yep.
And let them do the tap dance, because there's no reason, there is zero reason, Laura. I've been doing this 5 years. I've met with some of the most powerful people in this country. Never has there been a reason other than teachers are on the bill.
Mm.
It must cost money, and then we obviously
Right.
can explain to them how it works. And what was the other one? Oh, it sounds like it's too good to be true. What's the catch? I'm like,
Wow.
we're not even starting a new government agency. We're literally just trying to make an offshoot of what FHA already does to provide more affordable financing. And FHA is still getting money into the kitty in case of default. But Laura, you and I both lived through the 2008, 2006,
Yep.
that time frame, right? Our industry went awry because of fraud and because of employment.
Yep.
What is the most stable people in
Oh,
our
yeah.
country? We just had a pandemic.
Yep.
Cops still
There
working.
are heroes, right?
Teachers still
Yeah.
working.
Mhm.
Firefighters still running into fires with masks on.
Yeah.
So guess what? Their job stability, if anybody, lenders,
Yeah.
you want the most stable loans. These are probably the people you want them for, right?
You're right. And
So,
listen, so Sam, obviously you give out the website. I want to be clear on the website. Are there templates in terms of like emails that they can send? I know
no, I
like
can
for
actually, I probably could update it and do
I
that.
would do
So,
that. And
yeah.
I'm making the recommendation because the MBA does that when there's certain
Wait, can I
things and
stop
it
you real
makes it
quick though,
really
Laura?
easy. Yes.
Yeah, so let me stop you there. So that's where financing comes in. So let me give you an example. We have all these organizations to get massive amounts of money. You know, some of them I'm not really a fan of because we asked them to have our back during this fight for the last couple of years, and they haven't. And financially, sometimes is part of the way. Now, financially is one simple thing. There is, and I forgot the name of it actually, but there is a place where you can put on your website, you just basically plug in your name, your zip code.
Correct.
It'll tell the Congress and
Yep.
senators, and then boom, it sends out
Yep.
automatic email to that
Yep.
congressman senator, which is great. But that costs money. And for the last 5 years, like there are certain like Edge. I love Edge. Tom, I love you if you're watching. Um, they helped me financially. You know, I did production. They helped financially with some of the costs, right? So I'm very thankful. Churchill Mortgage back in the day helped me. You know, so and also I got to give a big shout out to my anyway, Homeowner Resource Center. It's a group that I'm with. They did a huge amount. They work in the credit union fields, right? So all of them helped out somewhat. But here's the thing, like there's a great simple cost line. If somebody wants to help sponsor that, we can put that on the website in a second. But again, it costs like 1,000 to maybe 1,500 bucks a month for that system to actually get paid for to work. And you
So
normally
we're
want a
gonna
12
we're
year
gonna
commitment.
go for the easy version, right? Which the easy version is
Yeah.
just the template, right? Just
Yeah.
here's the language, you know, just take this, plug it into your email and send it off, right? Because guys,
Yeah.
everyone listening, we all know we have the ability, we all care about our community heroes, we all want to help. Part of the reason why this struggles is because people don't understand our industry. We are the professionals, we are the industry leaders. We need to take action on this. This can't just be Sam out there with his passion, you know, trying to spread the word. It's wonderful he's doing this, but we need to collectively do this. And Sam, we're gonna wrap up, but you know, the first time I met Sam,
Wait, can I say one last thing real quick,
wait,
Laura?
I want to share a story,
Okay.
and I'm gonna let you go.
Go ahead.
So the very first time Sam and I met in person, we actually connected when I was out in Arizona, and he had a police officer with him, someone that he, you know, has an
Matt.
association to. Yes. And I was telling a story that I had just went and got my fingerprints done at my local police station. And
Yeah.
when I was there, the gentlemen all said to me, Laura, what do you do for a living that you're getting your fingerprints done? And I explained, and they said, you know, we cannot find a home that we can afford in the area in which we serve.
Yep.
And they were asking me any recommendations or ways to help them. And when I met Sam, that story and that interaction with those wonderful young men that I was speaking to, I only wish I would have been able to say, gentlemen, I have a program for you. Let me tell you about the Helper Act, and let me tell you about how we can assist you. But I wasn't able to do that. And that's the reason why we need to take action. On that note,
Yeah.
Sam, I'm going to leave you with, please tell us how people can help, and feel free to wrap us up.
I just think, you know, this bill is definitely not the Sam Royer bill. It's not the Sam Royer effort. And even at the end of the day, if this passed and nobody jumped in and helped, the worst party is a party that you're at alone. And it's like when this bill passes, I want all the organizations, I want all the people, everybody to thrive with this. And that's where I think some people don't understand. You know, I came up with an idea. It was a crazy idea, but it's an idea. And that was a couple years ago. Now, though, it needs to be a community coming together because we all are struggling. Your situation is exactly what I'm talking about. Matt literally was with me because he might do a side gig of doing mortgages because he can't afford, based off the fact that he lives in New Jersey and taxes
Yeah.
are $12,000 a year on his house. So he literally, and his dad's a disabled firefighter who's
Wow.
happened to be a realtor. So it all kind of like, but why would he have to get a second job just to live? And he's a single guy. So it's really, if you're out there and you really want to get involved, when I say get involved, like, look, we want a team. We want to have some fun with this because it is fun. Going to Washington, dressing up, and trying to really convince these individuals is actually a big joy. And you get to really see how Washington works. But so that's, I guess, my ask is let's party together.
I love it. Again, the website is, what's the website, Sam?
PassTheHelperAct.org.
Awesome.
Excuse me.
Sam,
That's
thank
the
you so
only
much.
official one.
Yes,
No problem. Thanks,
no
Laura.
copycats. Don't look at any other. That's the official one.
Yeah.
Guys, as a community, as an industry, as human beings that get this, let us come together. Sam, thank you for being with us. Thank you for sharing your wisdom,
Yeah,
for
thanks,
your
Laura.
passion, and for doing this. We're going to make this happen. Keep shining brightly.
See you guys.